I want to move on to Abdul El-Syed. He is a candidate for governor of Michigan, a Democrat. As he says, I'm a candidate who happens to be Muslim. I'm not a Muslim candidate. Obviously, there's been some ads against him and some otherization against him. He's running against pretty establishment, Democratic establishment. Gretchen Wilmore, I think her name is. Oh, look at Tommy Taihifi, Ty Bayless, my partner. You know it's bad when the only super chat money is coming from Ty. What does he say? When are you and Ty going to have a wrap-off? And how do I become a Patreon? Well, Ty, as I told the audience, when we hit 500 Patreons, you and me are going to have a Jewish, what do we call it? Fried chicken and gefilte fish rap battle. But we're not there yet. Frankly, Patreon growth has been slow, so I need you guys, if you're not signed up on Patreon, you know what to do. Patreon.com/Jordan Chariton Reports. So, Abdul El-Syed, Medicare for All, ending private prisons. Michigan has been hijacked by Betsy DeVos, the education secretary, by the Mott Foundation, which claims to be, a great foundation, but I know a lot of evidence that cites it's not, by extremist Republicans like the governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder, that not only poisons and oversees the poisoning of the water and then covers it up, but has given tax break after tax break, deregulation after deregulation to his oil and gas buddies, to his banking buddies, to his big pharma buddies, and on and on and on. The state of Michigan needs an actual progressive, not like Gretchen Whitmore, who's one of these Hillary Clinton, it sounds nice, but in practice is just, a slave to her donors. We don't need that. I'm not going to lie to you. I've heard from some sources that in some cases, Syed didn't do the right thing while he was health director in Michigan. Health director in Detroit, that he ignored pleas from some Flint residents for certain things. I haven't looked into it enough, but overall, from what I could see, would I rather him than Gretchen Whitmore? Yeah, I would. Whitmere, I would. Because we don't need any more progressives who say, oh, Medicare for All is nice, but, it's not possible. It will never come to pass, as Hillary Clinton said. Well, I think we have momentum. You see more water contamination in Michigan outside of Flint. They're finding PFOA chemicals now all over Michigan. It's an emergency in Michigan. And strangely, now that it's happening in white communities, oh, Governor Snyder, he's right on it. Do you notice that? How in Flint, over 4 years after the citizens, mostly black, were poisoned, there's still 3 to 5 hour water lines in Flint. Check out those videos on this channel. We covered it at length 2 weeks ago in Flint. 3 to 5 hour water lines at churches for donated water because the state shut down the water pots. But in white communities, oh, Snyder, he's taking care of business. So what you have is a late surge in enthusiasm, momentum, volunteering, and money to Syed, with Bernie Sanders coming in to speak for him yesterday. Nina Turner has been on the ground there, and other heavy hitters. There are some other candidates running. Paul makes a good point. Shri Thanedar is also a Michigan progressive candidate for governor. I'm not going to BS you. I don't know much about him. Shri, I don't know if it's a him or a her either, so you'll have to tell me. I get informed by my audience much of the time. But I think there's a good shot at Syed pulling out an upset tomorrow. I think if I'm being honest, if he does, in most cases, if a progressive does upsets in the primary, like Ocasio-Cortez, it's a much easier time in the general election. Michigan is a little different because Michigan is pretty much a toss-up. It's a toss-up. Sometimes it goes Democrat, sometimes it goes Republican. You had Democratic Governor Jennifer Granholm, then Republican Governor Rick Snyder. We've seen Donald Trump won Michigan after a long time Democrat. winning Michigan in the presidential. But Syed will have a challenge, whoever is the Republican nominee. Right now, it looks like it's going to be Attorney General Bill Schuette, who is another piece of work. But if he wins this primary, after polling, I think, 20 to 30 points behind, he is going to have the wind behind his back and a lot of grassroots momentum and more volunteers and more money coming in and more media attention. So I hate predicting. If I put money on it right now, I think he has a shot. I think if he wins, you're probably looking. If he wins, I'd say he would win between 3 and 5 points. But I really don't know. It's not like Ocasio-Cortez's race. This is a statewide race, not districts. So it'll be very interesting. I will be paying attention tomorrow night. I think that would be on the level of an upset of Ocasio-Cortez. Of course, not defeating the 4th highest ranked Democrat in the country, but if he wins in Michigan after being polling behind 20, 30 points, and by the way, then the Politicos of the world and the MSNBCs of the world can't be like, our revolution and Bernie Sanders, his movement is in disarray, and when Bernie campaigns for people, it doesn't work. So Bernie went down there for Syed. So if Syed wins, does that mean Bernie Sanders? We're seeing all these stories about how Joe Biden is the front runner and how Bernie Sanders is yesterday. Well, it's a good chance Bernie Sanders going down to campaign for Abdul El-Syed 2 days before the primary could have put him over the top.